Welcome to God Prince, where stories of grief, faith, and healing come to life. Jenny Levitt is an author, mental health coach, and founder of Resilient Hope. Now, Jenny and Caleb share their journey through unimaginable loss, survivor's guilt, and the slow, sacred road toward healing. That even in the darkest nights, we will see God's fingerprints all over our story. If you or someone you love is navigating loss, survivor's guilt, or deep sorrow, join us. We're here to walk with you, cry with you, and remind you, you are not alone, and hope is still within reach. These are our stories. These are his God prints. Let's begin.
Do you ever worry that you might forget Jacob or some of the memories that you had together?
Of course, yeah, I think that's a natural thing, and so kind of, going off of our last discussion maybe, in that whenever you can replace some of the bad memories, one of the major, I don't know what word to call it, I guess, one of the major concerns maybe that someone might have is that what if I replace them in my mind or I forget them? And I've had those thoughts before, so especially in the first few years after the accident, whenever I would find myself that I hadn't really thought about Jake a couple weeks, just living life, and then I would feel bad.
Feel guilty.
Yeah. So if you feel guilty in it, you have to understand that you have to keep on living. And so part of living and just continuing on in life is that if you haven't seen somebody now decades, then they're not going to be constantly on your mind. It doesn't mean that you have forgotten them and who they were and your love for them. It just means that you have to focus on where you're at right now, because you cannot get stuck in the past and then neglect. But for me, neglect my new baby and my wife and you, dad, and anybody else that happens to come into our lives. I can't forget them or neglect them because I am stuck in the past and worried about losing that connection to Jacob or to one of many others that we've lost. So now we've lost both of my grandmas and grandpas. And we lost, my aunt, and as you get older, you start losing people. At least to me, I view it as if I am, living my life in a way that would make them proud of who I have become and who I, am becoming, they're already gone. Jacob's already gone. I believe that Jacob's in heaven. And so I think that he would, thank you, but that he would want all of us to live our lives, to the fullest, just loving others, loving our family, being there for us. So that's kind of, but there are those moments where, the griefs, for whatever reason, really, hitting me hard. And I do kind of wonder, when was the last time that I really thought about him and remembered him? And so, I'll take the moment to, I can't let myself get stuck in that, to where that is all that I think about.
I know that I've shared with some moms before that early on, and I feel like this is pretty safe to say for at least most of the grieving moms, is that you just seem to be crying all the time. And early on, it can feel like, oh my gosh, is it going to hurt like this all the time? And then one day you might wake up and realize, oh, I cried today. But then you go through that spiral of feeling guilty. It's like, and so then you get past that. And I've tried to tell moms that, that's actually healthy. And over time, it should become less and less if we're actually going to process the grief in a healthy way. And there, even 10 years out, there are still times when something will trigger me. But I can definitely say that those are not the norm, the way they were early on. I think also that most of the people that we have lost, us, but those of you that are watching too, I think if you think about the people themselves, they would not want us stuck. They would not want us just sad all the time. Jacob was a super fun-loving guy. He would not want us just moping around. And I think a lot of us, that if the person really loved us, they would want us to live. Honor their memory, like what you're saying, but live. Choose to make the most of our lives. And I know some of you may be watching this and you may be so early in the grief that what we're saying, you're just like, you can't even wrap your mind around it. And I'm hoping that we will provide you hope that we are 10 years out. So this has been a process, but there is a way forward, to find hope.